I had quite a good turnout of clover. I mean, you can see all the green in here. But it's putting it out nicely. I mix it up in my little mixing buckets here and it helps break up the dirt. All right, it's finally time. We've made it to food plot season. Today we're back out and we're starting the process with the simple cutting the field down short, and we're gonna spray it with some glyphosate. And I'll take you through that here in just a little bit. First, I want to point something out. So this year, out here at my uncle's, I actually frost seeded a bunch of clover, and if you look closely, I had quite a good turnout of clover. I mean, you can see all the green in here. There's quite a bit of clover. So I had to make the tough decision that I could have either sprayed for grasses and broadleafs, or I could have killed it all and planted brassicas, and that's what I'm going with. And so the reason I chose to do that is because the last 3 years this plot has grown better than any of my other plots. No matter if we get a little bit of rain or if we're able to just have a soaking wet fall. And it has put one of the biggest deer on my wall, so that's why I'm choosing to do it. Honestly, if I really wanted to, I could keep this in clover, and this would be a good clover field because they always turn out better the second and third year. It would really get thick again. But this food plot fence that I talked about in my last video is up now, but it's not up all year round. So I know the cows would get in there and really eat it down. So that's why I'm electing to turn this over and plant an annual, which is going to be a bunch of radishes and turnips this year. So as we're cutting the grass now, I'm gonna start getting ready to mix the chemical so we can spray this down. We're gonna give it about 10 to 14 days, and then we're gonna come back out here and turn the dirt over, amend the soil, and get all the fertilizer ready to go, and obviously plant the seed. I'll take you through all that when we get to that point, but for now, this is the beginning of the food plot process. I'm so happy that we're finally here to food plot season. This is one of my favorite things about hunting, is getting everything ready for deer season, and hopefully we can turn this into a beautiful lush plot this fall. If you have not seen my spray setup before, I've talked about it in a couple of other videos. We have a little cheap Amazon about 3-foot boom sprayer with 3 nozzles, with a manual valve that we open and close to prevent from valve dripping from driving to and from different fields, and a 15-gallon sprayer tank that is connected to this on and off toggle switch, which allows us to turn it on and off on the spot. So whenever we want to turn around in a field or turn around somewhere we don't want sprayed, it'll turn the pump off right away, and we can turn around wherever we need. Okay, so staying as portable as we are, because we do this over a couple of different farms, I have our setup with, for this particular plot, we're gonna have 10 gallons of water, which is probably gonna be a little bit more than we actually need, but we're doing some more spraying tomorrow, so that's gonna work out just fine. I have some glyphosate Buccaneer Plus. This is 41% glyphosate, and this is my main killer. And this is basically a off-brand Roundup, and it works phenomenal, and it does the job. With the Buccaneer Plus, I go 7 fluid ounces to the gallon of water. So today, we're gonna have 10 gallons of water. So I made a nice little mixing jug this year for glyphosate. So that's where I would put in, how much glyphosate I'd pour into this jug if I'm only filling up the tank 5 gallons. And then the top, pretty much the top is 10 gallons. And if I'm doing the whole 15 gallons, I'd fill it up once and then again to the 30. And that would give me my 15 gallons. So this is a surefire way to make sure your measurements stay consistent and accurate so that you don't waste any extra herbicide. So I strongly suggest making you a measuring cup of some sort. This is literally a half-gallon milk jug. And I just kept the handle on it and kind of had a bigger pour hole. And I'll pour chemical from there into here to get my measurement. And then I'll do the same thing with my dye. The dye helps us see where we've sprayed. If you do not use this, it is very hard to kill everything unless you just go over and over and over, which in my opinion, you're wasting a lot of spray. If you can get this whole field where you can see just a little bit of blue where you sprayed, everything's gonna die. So I'm actually gonna start with 5 gallons of water first. And I'll get that in there. Let it vent. And from there, I will actually put in my chemical, and then I'll put in my last jug of water. And I did want to mention, this is clover, and a lot of times clover can be a little resistant to glyphosate, especially if you sprayed it before. So when I come back in 2 weeks, this field may not be completely dead, but that's okay. The clover's putting a bunch of nitrogen in the ground. We'll turn it over. Worst case scenario, clover grows back. Deer eat clover. So if some clover grows back, I don't think it's gonna hurt anything. We'll see what kind of kill we get here. All right, I have my glyphosate, and I'm gonna dump her in carefully. I try to eyeball the blue dye the best that I can because it's really dark and hard to read through the jug, so I didn't want to mess up my mixing jug. So there is a measurement tool on the side of the jug that I'm trying to read, and if you just put a couple of ounces in, you can eyeball and see exactly how dark you want to make it. See how good it kills it. All right, so here's the example. A little bit of blue dye. You can really tell where he has sprayed versus where he has yet to spray. So as long as you can match up that track, it makes it pretty nice to be able to kind of tell. Again, there's a lot of clover in here, so I'm expecting a lot of this to not die. But all these broadleaf weeds, hopefully some of this horse nettle, anything else that's in here, I'm hoping that it just gets demolished by the glyphosate. I sprayed the whole plot at the exact measurements that I used. I did forget to mention, I usually will add a little surfactant. Actually forgot it for this plot, so I'm gonna have to use that for my plots later on this weekend. However, I usually do put a little surfactant in with everything to help the glyphosate stick. It's really pretty easy when it's all said and done. A little bit of mowing, a little bit of spraying. We'll get hopefully a good kill on this. Give this an hour at least, maybe 2 to dry. If you can get that before it rains on it, it will be plenty good, and anything that comes after that, we'll just start killing it. And in 2 weeks, we'll come back, we'll see how much it died, and then we'll be here with the tractor and the disc, and we'll start tearing this dirt up. So with that said, we'll see you in the next part of the video, and hopefully in 2 weeks we have a great dead stand behind us, and we can get planting this food plot. Well, it's been 1 week since we sprayed the field, and from the looks of it, it's looking pretty dead. There's still a little bit of green in there, but I can tell that it's yellowing, I should say, more than it is green. So we're gonna give it a little bit more time to die. However, I had a little extra time this week. So we decided to save a little time because this plot in particular needs some lime. And I'm actually trying a new product I've not used before called Impact by Whitetail Institute. And you basically make a little slurry. You fill this jug 3/4 full with water. It treats a 1/4 acre of area, and you mix this very intensely for 15 seconds. It's actually a very strange chemical reaction going on. The jug gets rather warm, and you pour it into your sprayer. The jug calls for 6 to 9 gallons of water is what one 4 1/4 pound jug will take to spray. So we're gonna spray all, I think we put about 8 or 9 gallons in our sprayer. So we're gonna spray all of it on this little plot, and then this is supposed to immediately start bringing up your pH. This plot needed some lime in general, and we were just not able to get the lime out in time. So we're gonna use some of this, and we also have lime that will help the pH of this plot come up. So I just wanted to kind of walk you through. We'll have to kind of check back in and see the results of how this Impact has worked. Also, as you can see, I have a whole rest of my pallet full of pellet lime, and this in particular plot, after my soil test, told me that I need 11 bags of it out on here. So I'm gonna be getting my bags off, and we got a nice little pull behind spreader, and we'll load it up, open this thing up, and be driving all around the plot. We are gonna spread our lime so that the pH of this plot can start working its way up. Okay, and if you can see behind me, we are now hooked up to the spreader, and we are spreading 11 bags of pellet lime. This is all according to the soil test that I did this spring, and Honestly, you know, for pellet lime, it would have been more, any lime, it would have been more ideal to have this down a little sooner. With our situation, we're not able to, so that's why we're trying the impact product, but it's putting it out nicely. It's as easy as that. We are finishing up spreading the lime here. We really just take our spreader and put it on the most open setting and just fling lime around. It takes a little bit of time, but it's not too bad. All right, we're pulling in, getting ready to tackle planting day. It has been exactly 2 weeks since we sprayed this plot. Last week we were back here putting down some lime and spraying the impact product. So we'll have to watch how the plot grows and see what kind of results we get. I'll take it through my setup and we'll start turning it over. Okay, here is 2 weeks post spray and lime, and we got an excellent kill this year. Absolutely excellent. I don't see any green left. So we're gonna get everything ready and get this plot disked up first. Okay, as you can see behind me, the disking has started. So a little challenging being inside of a fence with your disc. You gotta we always kind of start at this end so we can disc down and end in some disc dirt already. We're gonna go over this 2 or 3 different times, and after we go through this that much, we'll have a nice powdery soft seed bed that we're gonna go into cultipacking for a first time first. But for now we're disking, and this is the first step we take. Today we're using our Ford 1000 with a 6-foot disc. For weight, we have 225 pounds of tractor weight on a piece of plywood on the disc, and about 125 pounds for front end weight. And then I will also hop on a lot of the times to add weight to help sink in this hard ground. You can tell if we haven't had rain in a while, the ground is very hard. So this is the first go over pass. You can see how much it broke it up versus how much it will have broken versus whenever we go over 2 more times. Not bad for a first pass. This is the plot gone over 2 times with the disc. Looks pretty good. Problem what you get is though, it's pretty cushiony, pretty powdery. So if you can, it's kind of hard to tell, but we are now rolling with the cultipacker behind the four-wheeler to kind of smooth out this whole seed bed. And after we roll this whole plot 1 time, then we're going to come in with our fertilizer and seed. The second step after you get it all disked up is we roll it smooth. Not everybody has a cultipacker. I do highly suggest them. They work really well, and as you can see here, it's doing its job. It helps break up the dirt clumps that are really big from the disc, and you get a nice little path. It's easy to see where you have been versus where you have disc. So when we're done cultipacking, we'll get into the seed and fertilizer. I also want to note for anybody who's first time food plotting, if you are working up ground that has never been worked up before, it does not work up as good the first time as it does the second and the third. So if you have brand new ground that has never been disked or tilled, that is not going to work up as well as this plot has been done for 4 years. So it works up very well, very quickly. While he is spreading fertilizer all over the plot, we are following our soil test recommendations. We've got about 100 pounds of triple 13 and about 50 pounds of 0062. That's what's going down on this plot. Again, according to soil test results. But this year, we are planting this plot in Imperial Whitetail Beets and Greens. And I want to add that I did add a little extra radish and a little bit of turnip in here, because this blend actually just has only 2.99, let's call it 3% of turnips, and I like a lot of turnips in my plots. So this is one of my top 2 blends. As you can see here, as the picture on the back of the bag shows, that is what this plot has produced for the last 2 years at least. The year before that it did too, and then it got eaten by cows. That's a story for another day. I just want to bring up that I coat all of my seed in this seed coat by Delta Ag. I bought this bucket. This is the 4th year I've been on this, and I still have some for next year. But basically it's just a fine powder, and I mix it up in my little mixing buckets here, and it's just a little extra layer of protection if you hit drought. So there's some rain in the forecast, but if by chance the rain falls through and doesn't happen, it gives this seed that much more of a chance to survive. I always just err on the side of caution and apply it to all of my seed. So now I'm going to use my handy dandy small seed spreader, as this has radish, kale, like I said, turnip, a lot of small seeds. So I like to use a baby small spreader, and this is important too. So I have mine set on 2, mostly because there's sugar beets in this mix as well, and they're a little bit bigger of a seed and they will kind of clog up a little bit. If it didn't have sugar beets, I'd probably put this on 1. I'm going to do the crosshatch where I go up and down, and then side to side, side to side. And I'm going to do that until I completely run out of seed. So that's the seeding pattern that I follow. The seed and fertilizer is down, so that means we go into the chain link drag. So all I did was take about a 6-foot piece of chain link, made a box out of it, ran a piece of rebar through the front of it, took some bull rope, mule tape, weaved it in and out, and made a little extension. And this is how we drag our food plot. And all we're doing with this is literally just taking the weight of the fence, dragging dirt, covering the seed. I like to cover the seed to give the seed a little better chance from birds and turkeys and squirrels to eating all of the seed, especially since there's no rain in the forecast for about the next 36 hours. So this is going to sit here for 36 hours and just be bird food. So we drag to cover the seed. Okay, and behind me you can see we are on the final roll. Again, after we drag, we pack everything one more time to really smooth out and firm down that seed bed so that these seeds have every chance to hopefully germinate and turn into the food plot we all know and love. After we do everything that we do, whenever we leave, the plot looks like this, and then I'm just here praying for rain. And you know, on good years of rain, your food plots usually turn out pretty good. On dry years, it can be iffy. I've had some good luck and been very fortunate with how dry some of the years have been, thanks to, I like to put a lot of faith in the Whitetail Institute seed. All in all, this is the end of the planting, and now the growing begins, or for me, the most stressful time of the year, playing will it rain or will it miss us. This is my favorite time of year, putting these plots in. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun, and it's really fun whenever you see your hard work pay off. So wrapping this up, hope you guys have enjoyed this little video of how we prepare our food plots for the fall. And if you are looking to do something with a little bit of equipment, it doesn't take a whole lot, but you can have some really nice looking plots at the end of it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. It'll be a little hard to see, but if you can see it, there's some sprinkles on my windshield. And that's really amazing because we got a pretty darn clear sky. But you know what? I gotta say, that for me is a sign from God. You know, at the very last end of the day, 8:30 here, and we just finished our last food plot. I'm literally walking across the plot after putting up the last camera, and I feel sprinkles just falling from the sky. I look up, it's like the slightest little cloud. And if that's not a sign from God saying that, hey, I got you, then I don't know what is. If you don't know, there is a God who cares for you, who loves you, who cares about that you care about food plots and deer. And even though he created it all for us to enjoy, God is so big, he cares about you and the things that you care about. And even in this imperfect world, God is for you. For today, the little sign of sprinkles falling as soon as we finished the plot, even though, you know, it's not enough rain to make something germinate or anything. It's, to me, a sign from God saying that, hey, I got you, don't stress, rain's coming. It's just one of those God moments. And if you ever have one of those, it just warms your heart and makes you smile, because you know he's there and you know he's looking out and you know he hears you and all the prayers that you say.